To stay alive and active, we all need to breathe oxygen from the air. But 78% of the air, more than 3/4, is actually made up of nitrogen. Only 21% is oxygen. A healthy person can get all the oxygen they need, but for sick babies struggling to breathe, the small percentage of oxygen in the air may not be enough.
This is where an oxygen concentrator can help. These machines make oxygen from the ambient air.
If they are looked after properly, they can keep producing oxygen day after day, and they really do save lives.
In this video, we will give you a basic introduction to the oxygen concentrator and explain the different parts of the machine.
So the function of this one is to concentrate oxygen from the ambient air. So what it does is it takes in air, the ambient air. From there, it filters out the nitrogen from the mixture, and what comes out in the front is oxygen.
Inside the concentrator, there are 2 large sieves. These are able to remove almost all of the nitrogen from the air, leaving more than 90% oxygen. The oxygen comes out of 2 outlets on this concentrator. This is the primary outlet in the middle, and this is the secondary outlet. You can regulate the flow of oxygen coming out with the flow meters.
This flow meter controls this oxygen outlet. This is the secondary oxygen outlet. Well, this one controls the primary, which is this one.
Each of the flow meters goes up to 10 liters of oxygen per minute. But it is really important to note that 10 liters is the maximum total output that this concentrator can produce. This means you cannot have both flow meters fully open at the same time. The machine will not cope. The total output of both oxygen ports must not exceed 10 liters per minute. So if the primary outlet is on 8 liters per minute, the secondary one cannot go above 2. Or if the primary outlet is on 6, the secondary one cannot go above 4. The 2 flow meters should add up to 10 or less. Now let's see the other controls. Above the on-off power switch is the reset button. If there is an electrical problem, like a short circuit or a mains power surge, the button will pop out. To restart the machine, turn off the power switch, push the reset button back in, and then turn the machine back on again. Next, there is the hour meter. This records the total time the machine has been operating.
So this is the hour meter. It displays the cumulative runtime hours of the machine. So it's usually used for maintenance scheduling. You can schedule to do maintenance every 5,000 hours, so you can be checking from the hour meter.
On the other side are 3 alarms. The top one is the low oxygen alarm. An amber light comes out if the level of oxygen drops below 85%. It means that the machine is not producing pure enough oxygen.
There are a number of reasons why oxygen concentration can drop below target levels, which we will explain in later videos in this series.
If that happens, it is important to check what is wrong. Otherwise, the babies on the machine will not be getting enough oxygen.
The most common reason is that the 2 ports have been opened up too much. So, for instance, if the primary port is on 6 liters per minute, and the secondary port is then opened up to 8 liters per minute, you are trying to get 14 liters per minute out of a machine only designed to produce a total of 10. The concentration of oxygen drops below 85%, and then the alarm goes off. To stop the alarm, you need to reduce one of the flow meters until the total flow is 10 or below. Next is the no power alarm. which goes off if the power has been disconnected or in the event of a power cut. This alarm requires a small battery.
If you hear this alarm, it needs immediate investigation. It means there are babies with prongs inserted who are not getting oxygen.
And the final alarm is called a general malfunction indicator, which is for other problems within the machine.
Internally, the machine, it monitors itself. It monitors its own operating parameters. When one of it is out of range, maybe there's high pressure or low pressure, it will light up. So for this indicator, we usually take the machine to the maintenance department so that they can take a look and diagnose what's causing this problem.
The other main thing you need to know about a concentrator are filters. These need to be cleaned weekly. The first of these protects the main air inlet on the back of the machine.
So the ambient air goes through here. So here, this is the only entry point of ambient air. Here we will have a gross particle filter. So this will filter out large particles that are in the air.
The second filter is called the fine particle filter. It's inside the machine. It can filter out tiny particles all the way down to the size of a bacteria. To change it, you have to take off the side panel. It then just lifts out. It has to be cleaned by the maintenance department and should never be put in water.
We will show you how to change and clean the gross particle filter in a later video. It is really important that you do this regularly. Otherwise, the machine can clog up with dust, which will end up in the lungs of a baby.
A final general point about the way this machine works. You can use either the primary or the secondary outlets to connect tubing to a flow splitter, a CPAP device, or directly to a patient. Both outlets on this machine have a valve in them. This stops the oxygen from coming out even if you open up the flow meter. The black nozzle opens the valve, so you need it in place for the oxygen to flow. And you can always swap the nozzle over to the secondary outlet.
You need something to open the valve. So one of the things that can open the valve is this nozzle. So when you attach this nozzle, it will open the valve and therefore oxygen can come out.
Or else there is another special tube which you can attach, which will open the second valve. This tube attaches to a flow splitter. Ideally, when delivering oxygen to babies, you will be using a flow splitter because it is much easier to accurately calibrate the very small doses needed. The flow meters on this model go from 0 to 1 liter per minute, rather than on the concentrator where it goes from 0 to 10 liters per minute.